Okay, y'all. Wow. I am sitting in my beautiful Airbnb in Sydney. It's raining outside. I have Earl Grey with milk. I put milk in my tea. Sorry, don't hate. And I have some ASMR going on the TV. I am so fucking relaxed. But that is literally not how this month went. So before we even get into that, my name's Marie. I'm the host of the show. This is a show where I tell y'all crazy stories from every country in the world in hopes we can become less ignorant about each other. But I'm also a full-time digital nomad. I have my own business and I travel, full-time. And this month I was in Australia. I was visiting my best friend. Who's been asking me to come to Australia for literally years, but I could not get out there because it's far, it's expensive, and I worked restaurant jobs or I was working 4 jobs and I couldn't do it until I started my own business. Yeah, so I finally made it out here after like literally 6 years of her waiting for me to come. And y'all, it was hard. Like, holy shit. It was so hard for so many reasons, which I'll get into. And I'm just keeping this also as a personal diary because a lot happened this month. So I was so fucking challenged because of a lot of things. You know, I have a full-time business, so I need Wi-Fi. There was not a lot of Wi-Fi this month. I was living my friend's lifestyle, which is very, very hippie. We were in a caravan in the middle of the Australian bush. So many bugs. We also had no toilet. I'm going to get in on to all of that. I feel like it's a lot. It's actually hard to process it. And it's hard. I don't want to just word vomit this entire episode. So I have come up with some travel prompt questions I found on Pinterest that I'm going to answer myself and pretend I'm being interviewed because there's just so much and I need to process everything that happened this month, you know? It was a very, very emotional month. I definitely cried multiple times. This is okay. That's travel. This is the difference between travel and vacation. Vacation, everything is controlled and perfect and blah, blah, blah. And you're usually not working. And travel is letting life really experience you and you experience it. So let's get into some fun questions that I'm going to ask myself and you can listen if you want to. Okay, let's start with the easy one. What surprised you about the way people live here? Okay, my experience in Australia is very, very, very niche. I was in a place called Byron Bay, which is a gorgeous coastline in the New South Wales state. And there's Byron Bay, Brunswick, and a place called Mullumbimby. That's where I was staying. I actually love Mullum. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny little town, 45 minutes from the coastline, rolling hills, beautiful forests, cows, horses, all kinds of creatures. And there's a town there that has like maybe 2 or 3 streets. And this is literally like the Gilmore Girls town, but in Australia. Like there's actual troubadours. Like in the show, there's always these people like singing on the street and just like quirky little characters. And like that's actually Mullumbimby. There was like this guy who wore cowboy boots and short shorts and would walk into businesses and blow bubbles and then just leave. Like that's Mullumbimby. Everyone was always playing music on the street. Lots of busking, which is really cool. I loved that. And then there was a guy named Kenny. We all know a Kenny. I think every town has a Kenny. Just avoid your Kenny. He's going to talk your fucking ear off. Oh my God. He's a binder. I saw him the first day I was in Byron. I hear, excuse me. After living in LA, no, I do not turn around for excuse me. No, I do not. I don't care if that's rude. And I'm so glad I didn't because I saw he had a binder and my friend didn't one day. My friend Liv turned around to Kenny and said, yes. And she got stuck on a bench for 45 minutes hearing about spiritual whatnot. Who gives it's not the content. It's the length, the lack of air coming out of his mouth and your mouth. Like there's just no talking on your end and you're just listening and you're stuck. And Kenny. Yeah. There was one day we were driving to Byron and we saw him on the side of the road and we all made eye contact and I was like, keep fucking going. And I was like, hopefully he's not in Byron. And then later that day he saw us in Byron. But you know what? He hitched a ride. And I just thought that was cute. Like I now know all the town characters of Mullumbimby. Don't talk to your Kenny, y'all. Don't talk to your Kennies. It's never worth it. You're not being rude. They're on drugs. Anywho, Mullumbimby, very, very hippie town. Something that has, I bring all that to say, I was in a very, very niche part of Australia. I have no idea what the rest of Australia is like. I saw 30 seconds of the Gold Coast city, thanks to Mon, my friend, who took me for a little beach walk before the airport. And I saw 3 days of Sydney, but it's been raining a lot. It's, it's just like a city. But I think I really did experience like the true Australia where I went. I also went down to a tiny little beach town called Seals Rock. Tiny town full of surfers. So I think I did experience a good portion of Australia through this experience. And the things that surprised me, take this with a grain of salt because I haven't seen all of Australia. They don't wear shoes anywhere. You can totally walk around without shoes. I'm talking in the bank, in the grocery store, like anywhere, which is cool. Gross, but cool. But I was camping for a month, so who cares? I did it. You could go anywhere without shoes. I thought that was awesome, honestly. People here are seriously chill. Maybe not Sydney, but where I was. Oh my gosh, they take their time. They have everyone smiling. Nothing could bother people. Like everyone's just really cool and chill and just happy, just really happy. Something I noticed is like, especially in Mullen and Byron, they're very in tune with the nature here. They're also very aware that it's not their land. There's a lot of Aboriginal signs, Aboriginal names everywhere, recognition of Aboriginal land everywhere. And I wish we did that in America so much more. And they really try to respect their land. There's a lot of rules in Australia, which I kind of like because everyone follows them, and the people just respect the land and they love their animals and they love their nature. I just think America could take so many lessons from Australia. Like there's literally no crime. You could leave your purse out all day in the same place. No one's going to take it. If anything, they might try to find you to give it to you. I would go to the library and go on a lunch break and go shop around and leave my laptop in the library for like hours. I'd say like 2 hours. And it was always there. And just, you can leave your door unlocked. It's just, people respect the rules. It's really nice here. It's just a nice place. People are just nice here. And I just think America could take a huge lesson. I just feel like this is our potential. We could respect our land more. We could have less crime. We could have more, like our government taking care of more things. So then we could all just be all taken care of. My personal take. Obviously, you come to Australia, you make your own opinions. Like, that was kind of weird. Is like their pubs are kind of weird. Yeah. Kind of weird. They have like gambling in all of their pubs and like horse racing but it does make sense because their ancestry is criminals. They were prisoners shipped from England. So of course there's a gambling problem here. Sorry, not problem, hobby. So those are some things that surprised me about here. Truly how great they treat their land, how many rules there are the government puts out, but people respect them. It's very clean. The gambling in the pubs was interesting, and you don't need to wear shoes. Ever. Or deodorant, honestly. People were not wearing deodorant and I could smell them. Let's say, what did the place sound like? Feel like? So I was in a caravan in the Australian bush and it was so many different birds. Like crazy sounding birds. There was one every morning at 4 a.m., the kookaburras. Y'all, they just scream and cackle for like an hour at 4 a.m. and then they stop. And I was woken up every day by the kookaburras. There's so many cool birds, so many cool plants. So yeah, for me, it sounds like crazy birds, rushing river water, lots of cows mooing, the sound of bats going over my tent, huge bats that would go over my tent at night. Stars were gorgeous. Saw a couple shooting stars. Yeah, just the countryside, y'all. Okay, now let's get into like the fears. Like, how did I address my fears? How did I handle my fears here? Did I shy away from anything? Just this whole month brought up so many triggers for me. I've never lived like a hippie lifestyle before. Like I've definitely camped. I've camped that, but I've never camped while working. I've never camped while having a full-time business. Wow, that was very, very hard. With my business this month, I learned to just let go and trust. I noticed this month I really run my business like it's a 9 to 5. Like I'm very strict on my time. I'm always at my desk, like finding something to do, so much to do on my to-do list, blah, 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 blah. And I forget that like I'm a podcast producer. My clients are chill and nothing's going to die or nothing's going to happen if something was wrong or I missed an assignment, which I never did, by the way. It was very hard because there's no Wi-Fi in the caravan. And I would drive into town with this crazy car, another part I'll get into, with this crazy car and going to town. And this was not a co-working friendly area. All the fucking cafes had no Wi-Fi or no bathrooms or no outlets. So thank you, Yaman, this Middle Eastern place that let me work there. Thank you to this Airbnb I had to rent just to get Wi-Fi and a toilet. I just had to find Wi-Fi all the time. And thank you to the Willem Library and the Byron Library, honestly, like for letting me get my work done. I had to just search for it every day. It was like hunting for Wi-Fi. It was so hard doing my job. And I just had to learn to like let go and just trust that I'll get the work done. And my business, I really, just kind of shed a lot of pressure I was putting on myself in my business. So that was like a really good thing. I didn't realize how type A I was in my business. So that was something I had to just kind of let go. Some really hard stuff, I think, was also just the caravan. Again, I've been camping. Now I've been camping on the West Coast in America where there's just really not a lot of bugs, especially in California. It's not a buggy place. Sure, there's bears and other actually probably scarier shit, but it's just not like buggy. Like I never had to think about that many ants or bugs or anything. It's not jungly. I was camping in a tropical jungle. Technically, the area I was in was a rainforest. So there's fucking bugs everywhere. I don't do bugs, y'all. I don't do bugs. That was so fucking hard. If you don't like ants, don't even come to this area. Don't come. The entire caravan was swarmed in ants constantly. I was driving, the car I was driving was Meg's boss's car, who was a drunk and got her license suspended. And then the car got infested with ants. And that was my car for the month. So I was constantly driving with like bugs in the car, like ants, a little beetle one time. I opened the car once and there was a huntsman spider. Yeah. There was one time I saw 3 huntsman spiders in like 15 minutes and I was screaming, like fucking screaming. I can't say I played it cool. I felt like the whole time I was there, I don't know if you've ever seen The Parent Trap, but there's the newer one. The whole family goes camping with the new girl, like the dad's new girlfriend, and she's fucking going crazy the whole time. That's how I felt a lot. Until the very end where I was like, you just kind of have to let go. But most of the time I was screaming. Just imagine me screaming most of the month and then crying. And then, it was just a lot with the bugs, y'all. Like I just feel like I was constantly on edge of like, if I saw something. And if I saw something, it most likely was something. Just like the amount of bugs, the ants, the huge spiders, the huge huntsman spiders, and just, bugs. And that was really difficult. The other difficult thing for me was the no toilet thing. We had to use a pot and we had to dump the pot out, which I didn't mind that much, but there were spiders where you dump the pot out. So I feel like my gut is fucked this month because I was like not always comfortable going on the pot, It's just quite difficult. And then there's the snake thing. I did not see this. My friends decided to sit on the couch outside and she saw a fucking rat run outside the couch. And then after the rat was a snake, not any kind of snake, a brown fucking poisonous snake, a brown snake was under it and it shot out. It shot out for the rat. And then after that, she went to leave and picked up the blanket and a fucking spider the size of your fucking hand ran across the couch. I feel like that exact moment for her, I didn't experience that, thank fuck, explains everything. Everything. You try to go sit in a couch and a rat, a snake, and a spider come out. Like, so my nervous system is shot. If I'm in this nice Airbnb and I'm feeling better, I don't think I'm meant for the Australian bush. I can camp in America, but fuck, y'all. If you don't like bugs, don't do it. But it was still worth it. I loved being out there and I loved my morning walks, my morning runs in the countryside. And sleeping under the stars is the best. Oh, it really is. So I'm not trying to complain. I'm just telling y'all how I felt. Like this was super intense on top of, again, working. But there were moments I didn't want to forget. So that's my next question. What is a moment I did not want to forget? There was one, we found this injured butterfly and we all held it. It was a beautiful blue butterfly. They're everywhere here, these electric blue butterflies. And I got to hold one before he died. It was really sweet. Another moment I don't want to forget is when me and Meg were driving to Seals Rock, which is a 6-hour drive. And we stopped at this big, like cliffy area. And I saw like a dozen of kangaroos and they're all on these super windy cliff overlooking the entire ocean. And just, like they're just chilling. The kangaroos. I saw a bunch of kangaroos. And just, I think my other favorite thing was looking out over the ocean. Anytime we were at the beach, I would look out, especially if we were at a cliff, and be like, holy shit, the closest thing between me and the next form of land is Chile. There might be some islands here or there between, but Byron Bay is the easternmost point of Australia. East. I don't know my east and west, but I'm pretty sure it's east. And so the closest thing after that, besides islands, is Chile. Chile, South fucking America. Y'all, look that up on a map right now. So when you see all of that ocean, that's what I was looking at when I was looking outside the cliffs. There's nothing. Like, just to be on the edge of nothing is pretty fucking epic. It's really epic, actually. So that was something I loved. I loved about being here. Okay, let's do my favorite day versus my worst day. Yeah, it's like my worst day it's nothing dramatic happened. It's just the accumulation of like not feeling safe. Like your gut doesn't feel safe because you don't know where to poop. And then your body doesn't feel safe because there's bugs everywhere. And then you just don't feel safe financially because you're like, you need to go make money. And it was a second week. It really hit me because Meg was going to go on a retreat and I was going to be stuck at the Caribbean by myself. I was like literally like 7 days in. I didn't do it. I couldn't do it. I literally booked an Airbnb and then I came back and then I camped. But like, I think it was just very, very jarring. It was very, very jarring. I just feel like the entire month I wasn't fully comfortable and that adds up. So it wasn't like I had a worse day. It's just, I feel like my nervous system was just always buzzing. My God. I did have some really good best days. So, oh my God. I think my favorite day was when me and Meg saw her friend Sebastian and Pete down in Seal Rocks. Seal Rocks is this tiny town. It's a strip of land between a lake and the ocean. And on the other end is where he lives. On the other end is the town. And one bar, one pub. And we stayed there and oh my fucking God. Okay, so Sebastian's this like surfer guy. Pete, I think he's what you consider like a bogan. He's like kind of country Australian, though he won't consider himself a bogan. But he has this like ridiculous hair. Like, sorry if he's listening, but like it's this I thought it was a wig when I first met him. I mean, like it's like an afro, but coming out of his hat, and it doesn't look like it fits him, but it is his hair, and he has the most Australian accent. I took a clip of his voice. It's not like he's saying much in it, but I'll show it at the end. I want you guys to hear his energy and his voice. He's just this chill fucking dude. And he has never traveled further from like Mullumbimby to Seal Rocks. So he's like really only knows that part of Australia. So he's really Australian. And my favorite day is when we went there and we all went, they got us tickets to go see Pete fucking Murray. Who I was like, who is this guy? Well, we get there, it's on the lake at this pub and everyone is singing. He's like this Australian, like Jack Johnson. And it was such a fucking good show. Like they actually shred. Like it wasn't boring. They shred on stage. That was such a good day. And then we had a Percocet Christmas where we all took Percocets and drank wine and played with all of Sebastian's instruments and played horrible music. Left my harmonica there, rip. And we just got such a good time. And then I tried to learn how to surf, but then I got lazy and never got up on the board. So did I surf? No. Did I lay on a surfboard? Yes. I just loved our time at Seal Rock. I thought that was so fucking fun. Oh, sorry. One more thing about a moment I never ever want to forget. This is literally for myself because this is crazy. It's not that crazy, but I thought it was crazy. So me and Meg, after a pretty long day, like, you know, she had work, I had work. We came home and we just started dancing. We got the bongos out and we just started fucking dancing. Just dancing under this beautiful tree she lived next to. And we did it for like a couple hours. And like when I brought the harmonica out, suddenly there was like a frog. And then there was another frog. And then there was another frog. And they were just sitting there watching us for like an hour. And anytime I would stop the harmonica, the frogs would start to jump away. And then I would do the harmonica again. And then they would stop. And I noticed this whole trip that frogs love music. So every time we brought out any sort of music, all the frogs would come out. Oh my God. They were so fucking cute. They were so fucking cute. I wish I had a pet frog. Dude, it was just so magical to like we literally performed our first like gig in front of frogs and they literally loved it. So that's something I didn't want to forget. What are aspects of local culture you would like to implement into your daily life? I would like to take away from Australia the ability to chill the fuck out. I feel like they're on their own time. They're just chilling, and everything's going to be okay. Every time I saw a spider and was screaming, they'd be like, it's fine. And at first I was like, are you gaslighting me? I still am trying to figure out what gaslighting means, but I'm pretty sure that's what that was. They're like, yeah, you're fine. But then by the end of the month, I started kind of being like, you know what? I'm going to chill out. And I was on the pot pooping, and I saw a huge huntsman, and I decided not to scream or run away because I was stuck on the toilet, quote unquote toilet. Oh, I think you can hear the rain outside. And I pooped next to the big spider. And I feel like that encompasses this entire experience, that moment. I learned to chill out and just accept. And I really did learn these bugs are not out to get you. They actually don't really want to be around you either. Besides the time I woke up with this granddaddy long leg on me, but whatever. They don't really care about you. They actually want to get away from you also. So I kind of learned to be more empathetic towards them and chill out. So that's what I want to take away from Australia is I'm going to chill out more. And I had a pretty good epiphany when I was on a walk. I had a really good epiphany about, I was like, I don't know. I was worrying about something stupid. And then I was like, wait, what if I don't worry? And then I worried again. And I was like, no, what if I just don't? And then the thought came up again. I was like, no, what if I just don't? What if for one day you try not to worry? You actively push the thought away. You actively push it down. And I had this really cool thought when I was on that walk. And I think it's because of this influence of Australia. Like, what if you just don't? Maybe for you, it's not worrying. It's getting angry or feeling any emotion. Like, what if you just don't? Because you don't have to. You could just be present. And that's something I really was balancing. And anytime I wanted to feel present, I'd go to the river and I'd swim in it, or I'd just sit next to it and stretch to it and sit next to it and hear the water going and look at the light on the trees and just be present. That's something Australia definitely taught me to, even if things feel so stressful and chaotic, how do you find your breath? How do you relax? How do you relax when there's a spider next to you? You know, can you just be present? What if you just don't? What if you just don't stress? So that's something a new mantra that came out for me when I was in Australia on that beautiful walk with all those beautiful horses that I would pet. And that's the lesson I'm taking away from Australia. Chill the fuck out. Your work, you don't need to treat it like it's a 9 to 5, and bugs don't actually care about you and they want to leave also. Snakes though, fuck man. Hope my friend does not sit on that couch again. That was actually a brown snake that lives there. She's living with a brown snake, low key. So to describe this experience in 3 words, I would describe it as anxiety, triggered, evolved. Because I feel like I didn't just evolve through all that. My friends I was hanging out with, they're just very spiritual, and they just taught me so much about chakras and about like tuning in with yourself and being present. And I learned about cacao, and we drank cacao every morning, which opens your heart, which it really does. It really does get your blood flowing. It makes you want to do something creative. So maybe the words I would choose would be triggered, evolved, and rainbow. The whole place to me, when I think of that area, is just a rainbow. It's like every color, every emotion. Yeah, it's a lot. It was a lot, but I did it. I somehow handled my business and did work in the Australian bush and survived. Pretty cool. Did I surf? No. I'll get to that one day. Not really, actually. I just don't care. So now I'm about to board a flight in maybe like 5 or 6 hours to go to Vietnam. I'm going to spend 3 months there, and I'm going to my goal for that trip is to get into my routine. I really miss the gym. I went today, thank God. I want to get back into the gym. I want to work on my business and create a coaching business, because I had so many people reach out to me the past 6 months of like, hey, how are you doing this? How are you traveling? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm doing a podcast editing, and it's so fucking easy, y'all. But the business part's not. And I want to teach people how to start a business and get over their fears and just to live. Like, you don't have to travel, but just be free. Have no bosses. Just do whatever the fuck you want to do. You want to take a day off on a Wednesday? Do it. You want to go to the gym in the middle of the day? Do it. You want to go camping? Go do it. Like, you can do anything when you have your own business. So I want to be creating a coaching program, eating good food in Vietnam. And yeah, Very, very excited about that, which I'll be leaving in a few hours. I will post the Bali episode also maybe a little bit further away from this, even though I went to Bali before this. Bali was also a challenging trip for me. So my whole trip, real quick, I went to France, which I fucking love France, with my cousins. Then I went to Portugal, partied my ass off for 2 months. Then I went to Thailand for 2 months. It was such a nice time. Like I made good friends. I started dating someone there. Like just a really nice time. And then the past 2 months have been very mentally difficult for me because now it's like month 7 of traveling, which is seriously a long time, y'all. But Bali, I didn't love Bali. It's nothing to do with Balinese culture, people. I didn't like it. It was not for me. It's very westernized and over tourist, and it's everything that's wrong with the internet. I think we need to stop posting about where we go, because Bali is the example of what happens when Instagram influencers take over a country. So I'm sorry to be so dismal about it. That's why I don't want to record that episode yet. I want to record it with my other friend, Alana. She loved Bali. And she actually got a seriously good local experience versus I was like kind of in Canggu and just not really like, I wasn't very open either. Like my experience wasn't too great. I will go back. Yes. But I want to record that with Alana. Alana had an amazing time in Bali. So I want you to hear both experiences, you know, like kind of how I saw it, my experience, and her experience with more of like the locals. And she actually got to really experience the true Balinese culture, which is hard to find nowadays because it's covered with influencer shit. So I won't post the Balinese episode. I'm going to have the Thailand episode out soon. And yeah, I'm going to head to Vietnam. I'm going to post this shit. And I want to end with y'all just hearing Pete's voice. I don't even know what we're talking about. I just need you to hear his voice. A real Australian. Okay. Cheers, y'all. If you want to see my like day to day of my travels, I'm always posting about like what's actually happening while my travels. You want to keep up with me. If you want to actually see what my travels are like day to day, and like I post all my stories, go to my podcast Instagram at culturecultshow. Yeah, that's where the real shit is. It's my stories. Also, my friend Kelly, who I met in Thailand, is going to come on. I just thought of this as I was ending this episode. She was in Perth, and I just feel like y'all need to hear like her Australian experience, because I feel like we can't just think like, oh, Australia is just all hippies, or is it? I don't know. So I'm having her record her experience of being in Perth in a home with a pool. And it's just like, even a lot of Australians have never even been to Perth. It's just so fucking far and it's very remote. So I'm excited to hear her Australian experience and compare it to mine. And then you can have a more well-rounded idea maybe of what Australia is like. Not to mention, she has the most lovely British voice. Oh my gosh. I wish she had a podcast where she like talked about tea and like fucking flowers. Like she has such a good voice. So it's just, think of it as extra content for ASMR. But before we get into her lovely voice, I do want to show you Pete. I'm going to insert his voice note right after this. I want you to hear his voice. And then we're going to hear Kelly's experience in Australia. And then, yeah, maybe you'll get a better look on what Australia is like besides my experience. Yeah. Okay, enjoy.
The fucking, you know, give the little cunt nuggets or chips or something that he's just gonna eat and not fuck around. Not,
he'll throw the fries and the chicken on the ground.
It's alright, that shit's easy to clean up, but these parents want to give him, you know, the sauciest pizza. Here's a chicken parmigiana for the baby, and then wonder why the whole thing is just fucked. And you got to spend 10 minutes cleaning it. Because in their mind, it's like no one has to clean it, but someone has to clean it. And I fucking hate that cunts.
Why are they giving a pizza to like a baby?
Because they're fucking donkeys. They were fucking at half a clue. You go, look, out of respect for the fucking restaurant, the poor cunt who has to clean this up. Let's just give them the nuggets. They'll eat them. They might wipe some grease on the fucking thing. At least it's see-through and you can sort of just clean that shit up.
Okay, this could take a while. I might break it up a little bit. Okay, so my best friend lives in a suburb called Whitby. Now, when I say a suburb, Western Australia, so you've got Perth, that's the main city. But I don't really class it as a city. Like, it's a very new city. It's not really the bustling vibe you would expect from like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane. So for me, calling it a city is a stretch. One thing I would say is I came here in 2016, and now being like visiting in Perth City, because my friend lives like a 40-minute drive away. There's no public transport, so you need a car. Most people in Perth have a car. The public transport isn't great, but it's changed a lot. They're putting a lot of money into Perth City. They're trying to make it the next Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane. It's just a very slow process. I've also got a friend who I met on my travels in 2012 who lives in the city. So I stayed at hers on New Year's, which was lovely, to get a view of city life. I have mixed opinions on where I'm staying now. So this is my best friend's house. Now, I've been friends with this girl since I was in school. She's from the UK. She moved out here 10 years ago with her ex-partner. She has the most beautiful house. It's like 4 double bedrooms, a theatre room, an activity room. I don't even know what an activity room is, but that's what it's called. A swimming pool. It's stunning. But Whitby, the place where she lives, is so basically what they're doing with, I say Perth, but like I guess the Perth suburbs, is it's just surrounded by bush, right? So they're constantly building out. So this is a new-ish area. I'd say newish, about 10 years. They've literally just cleared out a load of bush and started building a community here. So my friend bought this place near the start of that, like it being created. They're still building houses everywhere. They're just spreading out and out and out with Whitby. But there's nothing here. There's no shops. You have to drive like 20 minutes to get to a shop, which my friend loves. So my friend loves being in the quiet. I'm a little bit opposite. Or if I'm in the quiet, I want to be able to get a train to somewhere where it's happening. So I'm coming back here in February for 5 weeks, and I've hired a car because I'm like, I can't. I need to be able to, like, there's no gyms. So my friend has turned one of her spare bedrooms into a home gym, which is great. But I want to go to classes. Like, I need to get out. Okay. What surprised you about the way people live here? I've probably kind of covered that. Like here in Whitby, it's the fact that you kind of need a car. It's not really a big cultural experience for me. Like I've been to Australia before. I've been into the outback, into like Uluru. I did a tour that went from Adelaide right into the bush to Uluru, and it was incredible. Saw some kind of Aboriginal communities and things like that. I guess the lifestyle here is very different. So one thing that shocked me is how early people get up. Like I went and over New Year stayed with another friend's family for New Year's Day. They get up at like 4:30. And for me, obviously I work late. So I'm an online teacher. So I'm still on UK time zone in terms of my lessons. So I finish at the moment at about 2 a.m. on average. So I obviously get up later. And they go to bed at like 8, 9 p.m. Now, in a normal circumstance where I'm not working late, that sounds great. But the getting up early, what I realized is it's been about 40 degrees here. So people get up early so they can get shit done. And then it's too hot to do stuff in the afternoon. And yeah, they kind of just chill. So their evening, like what I would be chilling in the evening in London, like, I don't know, watching TV, reading, etc. They do that at like 5, 6, 7 p.m., which is when I'd be like thinking about dinner. So that's surprised me a little bit. If you could describe your experience in 3 words, what would it be? Or I'm going to go for the whole of my digital nomad experience so far. So from September to it's now January. Surprising would be my first word. I think I've learned a lot about myself already, and it's only been like, 5 months in terms of what I like, what I don't like, where I thrive, where I don't thrive. So my second word is empowering. It is so empowering to just be able to create your own life and to change it as often as you want or as little as you want. I'm still in that stage at the moment where I'm at the beginning of my journey, so I want to see everything. So my planning is kind of like, how can I get to as many different places as possible? But that doesn't necessarily match my need for routine and the fact that I have to work. So yeah, it's empowering because you can choose how you want to live your life. And I think, society tells us that we have to do life one way. You have to get the job, get the career, stay in the same career for the rest of your life, which is bullshit. And that's how people define success. But actually, what I'm doing, I feel pretty successful, even though I haven't got any of those things. I don't own any property. I don't have a partner. I don't have any children. And sometimes that's difficult because, Instagram, I mean, there is a big Instagram community at the moment of people who are doing this lifestyle, which is great. But I think where I'm from in the UK, like kind of village mentality, is that you don't leave the village. Like it's like there's fucking these invisible gates around the perimeter of the village, and if you like walk towards them you get electrocuted or something, like and it pushes you back, like you just don't leave. So it's quite hard. Like I've got friends back at home where I'm from posting about their kids or their beautiful homes, and you can't help but have that comparison culture. But yeah, it is empowering. It's empowering individually. Like to me, I feel empowered. To other people, it probably looks like I'm lost and trying to figure out my life. But actually, I've kind of figured out that this is the life I want. So yeah, it's empowering for me. Probably doesn't look that way to other people. Okay, my third word is challenging. And I don't want to, that's not necessarily a negative thing because I feel challenged every day, which I think is a good thing because I feel challenged to motivate myself because I'm in these beautiful places and I just want to explore them and, relax in them. And for me, like going back to that societal expectation, you go to a new place, you go on holiday, right? So you're on holiday, you're relaxing, you're chilling. But actually, I also have to earn some money and work. So to be able to afford this lifestyle. So even though it's a heck of a lot cheaper than living in the UK, challenging, but in a good way. So challenging myself to get clients, challenging myself to think about what else I could do, challenging myself on a daily basis, thinking, is this working? Do I need to change something? So yeah, I think it's challenging, but in a good way. My hardest day was when I was on my tour of India and I was sick because I'd actually extended the trip. So it was Jaipur and Agra. So like the Golden Triangle was the tour. I extended it to go to Udaipur with some of the girls that were on the trip. And it was beautiful from what I saw of it. I was so sick. I spent like 48 hours in my room. I managed to like see, it's like called the City of Lakes. And it's so different to the rest of India. It's a lot more calm. And that was really hard because it was like your body's telling you need to rest. But I wanted to do the opposite. So that's kind of like, I guess that could happen to anyone, right? That's not exclusive to this kind of lifestyle. But because I do get sick a lot, because like I said, I'm kind of like immunocompromised, I guess the hardest day or the hardest times are where your body just says no. And there's a lot of pressure to, you've chosen this lifestyle and you feel like you should be living it every single day, but it's not practical. Like you can't be on all the time in any lifestyle. But I feel like there's that added pressure. Maybe that's pressure I'm putting on myself, but because you're in a different country, you feel like you want to be doing things and living it every single day. And sometimes you just can't. What about this trip are you most thankful for? I think people, right? So not just in terms of like making friends and things like that, but it's particularly in India. Indian people are so nice and so helpful, and Thai people, and just realizing that, there's so much in the world, in the news that is bad, but realizing that actually people are good generally, like the majority of people are good. It's the minority that are bad. And that's what we hear about. But actually, we should be celebrating how amazing people are and embracing other people's cultures and rather than stigmatizing them or trying to push them into this Western way of life. Because actually, the Western way isn't necessarily the best way. And I'm going to answer, what aspects of local culture would you like to implement into your life with this? I think being more present and being more simplistic. I'm still working on that. I find that really hard. But I think, yeah, like, I don't know, Asian culture and Australian culture, but in a different way. So it is obviously very Western, but they still have this very laid back attitude to life. And I worry that it's going to become more like America and the UK, where it's very kind of fast paced and very work, work, work. But they're still clinging on to that in Australia, I feel. And I like it. I guess Australia's the middle ground, right? You've got Asian culture, which is very laid back, very present, very collectivist. So very working as a team, community, etc. You've got the UK and the US, who are the polar opposite, very individualist, very work hard, achieve your own goals, do it for yourself. And then you've got Australia, who's kind of somewhere in the middle, like probably more towards the Western side, but they are still clinging on to some of those like collectivist values. So I think, yeah, I want to be more simplistic with my life, be more present and embrace collectivist culture, so like community and things like that. Yeah, I think that's all I can answer at the moment, which you're probably glad of because I've rambled on, but that was quite healing actually. That felt like therapy.